Well, so what I'm trying to figure out is what I really agreed to do down here.
Well, you're doing it. Unless you're doing something else.
Is that called learning experience and knowledge?
Well, we've been through a lot of these things. This stuff's kind of elementary, isn't it? We can, progress to a better position of understanding, yes, than just keep dragging the old stuff with us.
Duane, I have a question.
Go ahead. Is this Eric?
No, this is John Pennywool. How are you today?
Oh, hello, John. Yes, go ahead. You sound like Eric. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What did you say?
Go ahead. I said you sound like Eric a little bit. Eric is here. Eric is from the East Coast.
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Eric.
Yes, Eric's really cool. Him and Henry and Kelsey, they all do things together on the Facebook and whatever. Yes, go ahead, John.
Okay, so my question, I've been reading your books, and I haven't seen anything and I haven't noticed anything about two things that occur within creation. One thing is fasting and how we cleanse our bodies. And I believe in holistic stuff, like eating right and avoiding all the chemicals and everything that they try to do to us. But I don't see anything in there about any kind of intentional fasting. I was wondering what your take on that was. And the other thing was kind of like a crossover between this side and the real side, which is your take on the whole pineal gland and meditation and trying to have visionary experiences on the real side through that. And I was just wondering what your take was on that stuff.
Okay, well, first of all, fasting. I used to do a lot of fasting when I was young. I lost a lot of weight. It's great. It really makes a difference. I read Arnold Ehret's mucusless diet healing system. He had Bright's disease, and he discovered through fasting and other means. He had tried vegetarian diets and whatever that. He did very well. He cleansed himself of all that. Animals do it naturally in nature, yes. Those are personal things. And then the meditation and whatever, yes, things can occur. And, again, people can smoke marijuana or take LSD or whatever and have certain experiences, etc., yes. And all this is valid. Astral projection, remote viewing, all these things are valid. I've written a lot about these things, more so in the groups. The books are to demonstrate a possible adventure for anybody. That's what the books are about. Paul wrote a lot of things like Herbs, the Magic Healers, and things like that. And I didn't really want to get into that, but Kelsey and Eric and Henry and these kids have gotten into all this. They've brought all this out, which is really cool because I like to stay focused on a particular because there's a lot more taking place than just the earth. In other words, again, you can write about anything, but people become very self-satisfied here, which is fine. It's a choice, but this place is very, very limited and restricting. And, diet is fine. Okay, fine. I eat good myself. And sure, I don't want these things in my diet, but that is not first. This is just something that you do here, and once in a while I'll mention it. But again, that's a personal choice. It's just like the clothes you wear. You decide what you're going to wear with tennis shoes or T-shirt or whatever. Don't really get into those things simply because you have a personal life. My focus is this. And so from all that I've come through and learned this lifetime, I went through many things in the corporation, etc., and it's all fine. But it's very elementary stuff compared to the isness. And this is the big journey. And if people want real freedom, there is no freedom here. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how healthy you are or smart you are. It's all restriction because it's cause and effect. And to really stand real in the is, that's a particular. So that's my focus. But all these things are fine. whatever you decide to do, and again, when people do things like meditation or whatever, and their and visions and all that, because I refer to the real side, yes, we have experiences, and this starts things off, but it only has value. It only has real value when you're able to take whatever you're experiencing and recognize this isness. Now, this is a particular. And yeah, it would seem as though you have to approach it from a, you might say, a particular angle. Well, these are just ideas, because you cannot define it in any way. And it's not spirit. It's not these things. These are off the astral worlds and whatever. These are in creation. There is this stuff that occurs in creation. And as you continue on, it's like anything. You know, it's kind of like Steven Seagal in a way, to where, you know, he went through his training, but after a while, it's just all automatic. And this is what it is with the boys. This is very, very real. And this is an exceptional time, because this really has never been brought out like it is. And all we can do is give it the hints. But, you know, whatever you decide to do in your personal life is fine. But for the most part, most people become attached to these, especially old ideas and tradition, things that have been around, yoga, meditation, the third eye, the pineal gland, and all that. I don't refer to that anymore because it's very elementary. The new you is direct to the real universes. And again, that's a toughie for most people, because the nirvana state, nirvana or the void, is the ethereal right next to the deep dark border. And so people that experience this think this is, okay, that's it, I've reached the end of life, there is no more. But no, it is surpassing that and then recognizing the real you. This is where I've redefined the old soul idea. It just doesn't work, because again, people take that personally, and people that astral project think, oh, this is my soul body, I'm astral projecting in it, when it's really one of the 5 bodies they have. So, you know, huge misunderstanding, and tradition is really a distortion now. It doesn't work anymore. It's very, very elementary. But you decide what you want. To recognize the is and stand real with the real guides, that's very exceptional. And that part you got to figure out yourself, because it cannot be taught. The boys can give you certain demonstrations, but that's with your intent, which is endless. Okay, when you start to recognize that is with your intent. And for the most part, your imagination, your intent, and imagination is just in creation. It's not in the real universes, because you don't need it. Everything is perfect. But it starts off with your intent, and then to go from there. And most people do not.
I say that all the time, Duane.
Yeah, yes, sir.
It's the foundation of everything.
Yes, sir. And it's very real. And you will get objective views of this. And this is why Rebazar brings certain people around me, because of my intent and focus. And Claudia is one of them. Rebazar has brought many. They've come and gone. Several of them have passed away. But for the most part, he will bring certain people around, and they will be the witnesses to this, and an objective view for others, to help others and themselves, etc., as they step up. And so, you know, it's kind of like when you have dreams at night, young man. Some of them are dreams, some of them are real side experiences. This is where, you know, you learn to figure that out. You know, the boys are not going to live your life for you. The old master idea, well, the master is going to think and do things for me. No. And it's just like a business deal. You know, I'm assuming you've done them. I do a lot of things worldwide and galactically, into a lot, because I love the adventure, and I like what's real and what makes sense. And so just like a business deal, like in this world, after you've done so many, at a certain point, you start to intuitively spot and see, okay, what makes sense, who's trying to do something funny, and who is honorable, you see. So again, and this gets into the individual's intent. So look for in people is I look at their intent, and if they have attached to that sincerity for something that's genuine and honorable, that's what I look for. And that's a choice people make. I don't expect it from them because I've seen so many people come and go, and it's their choice. Just like the people that are destroying the world right now. That's their intent. That's their choice. They've placed, you might say, the heart of themselves, that intent, that couples itself with your real awareness is your intent. But still, you have to recognize how this reality is and eventually recognize the isness. So there are steps to it. So the simplest and the best, one of the best references I can give, which I've said many times, is learn to recognize what the sun is demonstrating. Okay? So that's one really good way to look at it. But you see, it's very subtle. It's like your intuition. And then from there, again, from your intuition, when you get nudges, you gain some kind of insight. You should. And from there, you can take the next step to see in some comparison mode to recognize your real awareness, the real you that's operating these 5 bodies. So in the meantime, young man, what you do on Earth or whatever, it's just, this is just a place. Everything is set up to, in some way, recognize something of the isness life is. And that's an intention and a decision and free will and all these things that you decide and how you put it together. You see, like a car with all the 10,000 pieces, there's so much to it, and your being, it's endless. And so, but these things like fasting and meditation, whatever, these are something, but realistically, these are just little playthings. And yeah, people want to leave their body, and it was soul travel at one time with the corporation, and people just want to boing all over creation. That's just where it goes. But, even, these individuals like Harold and Darwin, whatever, the boys gave them experiences in the real universes, but they never recognized it. And that was demonstrated by what they're doing. So people can say, well, I'm spiritual, I'm this or that. Well, you can see them on the real side. And also,
sure.
What they demonstrate shows exactly where their awareness is, and if you want to associate with them. But really, what you want to do on your own, that's your decision, and you have the right to have anything you want in your life. Yes, it's all for you. Life is available for everybody. You decide. Yeah.
Duane, thank you so much. I try to walk into every situation with the correct intention, and I don't judge others with their intention, but like when things aren't going right, like I'm constantly, like, I walk through life now with a reflection going on. Like everything I see is some type of a reflection of what I intend to see, and the intent is huge behind that. So there's like these messages that go on constantly, and when the things aren't going right, I have to go back and do a spot check immediately. What is my intention here? Because if things aren't going right, there's obviously something going on here. It's bigger than me, bigger than what I think. It's bigger than what I feel. The other thing is that when you go on to the real side, is it possible to walk through the real side and have that kind of intuition and being able to recognize what's real, on the kind of level where, because I haven't been able to do that yet, like I can go over and I can do stuff and I can experience things, but I can't walk through and have like total recognition like I almost can here in creation and reality. So.
Well, again, there's a difference when you're on the real side and you're here, and that's just the first step, and that is that when you come back from an experience there, for the most part, yes, there's a difference. You learn to recognize the difference. It's like the old cars where you had a carburetor, and if your car's running, and if you're a mechanic or you play with your car, you You can hear little subtle sounds when it's out of tune or the carburetor needs adjustment or you need new spark plugs, whatever. A lot of us have went through that. And so this is like it too. And so again, it's a constant fine-tuning of yourself, and you decide how you're going to do this. Most people just glaze over. They just become self-convinced. It's like, oh, everything's fine. I got my job. I got my house. Hey, life is good. See, they just glaze over everything. They don't really look at every thought, feeling, or whatever, their intention. Most ideas that relate to are some kind of, oh, I don't believe that. It's the belief idea, or I believe in this, or whatever, or I don't believe in chemtrails. See, they just use these ideas, and really what they're doing is they're confusing themselves, but they think that they're okay because they can just go to the next thought and the next thought and the next thought, you see. So when you really have the heart to really see this, yes, it's a focus. And it would be so, and the sun is a great example. Look at the sun. Just stand, you might say, in the shoes and the position of the sun and see it as it shines. Okay, so what is that view? It has one view, it has one purpose, that is to shine, you see? And really, that's like the real you. And then when you're in that position, that free being of real light that you already are, when you're in that position and you recognize it, guess what? Everything is available to you. Not the little pieces like in creation. Everything is available that life is. And you won't even, creation will be a speck of dust, is what it'll be. You won't even consider it because you will be all aware. You see, it's so cool. But you decide how to see that and recognize that and implement that within yourself. So what we go through here gives us the hints. It's kind of like training to be a soldier or, a secret agent or a Navy SEAL or whatever, as an example, or climb Mount Everest or whatever. You go through this training, you're going through this process to where you're so focused, you have these abilities at hand, you see. And so, but this is in creation, which is fine. And whatever you wish to do here, fine. I feel kind of like a secret agent myself many times. I like it. I like the risk factor, etc. I'm doing things that most people would not understand. But at the same time, go ahead.
No, I said we're special forces.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so whatever. So the thing is that I don't want to labelize this too much because then people start to get the wrong idea. The focus is the isness. This is what I'm doing. Everybody else out there, Tony Robbins and David Icke and Dr. McCullough and whatever, they've got their priorities, which is fine. But I'm the only one here providing this reality because this is to real universes and real freedom here now. It's not. You don't have to travel there. This is universal positioning. This is where you recognize it now. We're not going through the old steps where you're going up or down or left or right or, what initiation am I or, is my third eye opened and all these things. The new you is everything. This is how I've decided it to be. It was shown to me. I was the one that determined all this. I changed the levels from Paul's time when it was the soul plane on the 5th level to the 7th level. Again, things had to be redone in creation because the old ways are not working. They're all failing. And besides, with the influence and the spring deceptor, if you read book 4, it's very real. Claudia's a witness to that. Very few people are, but it's very real. And the darkness is growing constantly because of the agreement people have. They do not see their unconscious part, which is huge. But as you continually use the new you and you focus on this isness reality, and at first just imagine it like a sun in the sky, and just that will take you further. So that's a very good way to start off, and eventually, little by little, you'll get little peaks. So as you earn your way, again, you have to keep in mind, everything equals itself. In other words, the days of being the beggar are gone, where you sat at the master's feet and it's like, oh, please give me wisdom and knowledge and all these things. Well, you start off with that, but the wisdom and knowledge is not the answer. And this is where the old masters and gurus have really failed, you might say, because again, they only went so far in creation. And now they're upset with me because I'm bringing this thing through, because they've stabilized their position like the Kalam God, and it's worthless and it's all imploding upon themselves. But, again, they can't see past it because, again, they have this identity, this self-convinced identity, like Harry on stage. Oh, I am the master. I know everything. People look to me and worship me. Well, you can have that. The end result will be you'll have nothing. You'll just sit in darkness until you wake up to it. So, yes, this is an exceptional journey. So I suggest to start off there. The sun is a great example. Not the fireball in the sky, but what it's demonstrating, especially through the atmosphere. It's an awesome experience. And as you compare it just to your Earth life, you see that it's very real compared to what's taking place here. And this is just a world of appearances. And it's fine. This is babyland, and it's fine. Okay, we need this too as a reference. That's it. But not as a reality, because then you stay sucked into it, because this is a dimensional dream. And so, again, nothing's negated. Nothing is ever negated. And this is the misunderstanding people get. And we're not a cult simply because we're focused on the all-natural environment, which is the whole of life, not just nature here. Okay, not just plants growing in the sea and the wind being clear and clean, but the true reality, the all-aliveness that life is. And things here are simply simulators, because your real awareness is alive and you're functioning a body just like your car. It looks like it's driving down the street, but it's not alive. It takes that driver inside. And so, yes, this experience is precious, and this is why we're trying to warn the world, because everybody that's being destroyed here is going to go unconscious again into future lifetimes here and be even more controlled. So this is where you earn your way. And the isness life can only provide a view, a continuous new view for you as you step up and take the risk to share what it is, you see, and to figure that out. Now, the boys will see, and life will see, your intent. And if your intent is there, and you're sincere and honorable 100%, well, they will guide you along according to your intent. And again, life equals itself. And as you take on the risk to present this realistically, directly to the is, and we do all these other funny things too, but directly to the is, then the is itself can share itself with you, and you get the bigger view. You see, that's how it works. You're no longer the beggar. Yes. Yeah, you earn your way just like you would, just like if you saw G.I. Jane or whatever, you want to be the Navy SEAL, you earn your way.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your answer.
Yeah, yes, it's all for you. So, yes, it's so cool. The reality of life is so cool. You've come to this point to where, hey, you don't have to bow to gods. You don't have to, accept what the authoritarians are telling you and whatever. You can be creative realistically, and it's really a lot more fun to be sincere and honorable with what life is, and see it for what it is, more so than just anything here, but at the same time provide something while you're here. That's why you're here. You came here to see this and recognize. I don't give it a time limit. I see myself as just like the kid, really. This is we're just in the first stages here, young man. So, where are you going through eternity and beyond that, etc.? So where's the time factor? You know about the real guides now. Lucky you, lucky everybody. Don't take those for granted for any second. But again, prove yourself. You have the ability, you have the awareness to recognize anything you want. You already have it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for asking.